The moon is not the cause of a solar eclipse that we see in the sky, okay? The sun and the moon are hologrammatic conical refractions from the black sun, which is actually what causes the solar eclipse, otherwise known as Rahu or the North Node.
We're going to talk about solar eclipses. For anybody that watched the October 14th solar eclipse, I will have a video that I'm going to play from NASA of their live stream of it. I want you to notice when I play this live stream what direction the celestial body that goes in front of the sun is moving. And ask yourself, does the moon ever move like this?
Starting first in the United States and then following, and I mean, what a NASA broadcast, right? And so thank you.
Large this area of partial eclipses, this
everyone is just excited about this eclipse and away. What I think is super cool, we've even got some cool. In addition to that, I mean, we really.
I think I heard you say it, Michael. It's about the community and being communal.
If you were fortunate enough, which I was, and I was actually in the path of totality as well, if you watched the solar eclipse, the node, definitely not the moon, came from top to bottom. When do we ever see the moon move vertically in the sky? Please share one video with me on Instagram. I'd love to watch it. Whenever I've watched the moon, and I watch it a lot, it only moves horizontally in the sky for some reason. But I'm supposed to believe when I watch with my own eyes that solar eclipse, the moon moved from top to bottom over the sun? That never happens. Debunking the heliocentric claim that it's the moon in the first place. Serious problems with claiming that lunar and solar eclipses suggest we're on a ball revolving around the sun. There are so many anomalies with these eclipses, and the heliocentric model claim none of them line up when you actually critically look at the data given to us.
So here is an eclipse, solar eclipse. What do you notice? Do you see the moon? And the answer is, you see something circular blocking the light, but you see the sky. It looks just like the sky, right? Whatever is eclipsing it, you're imagining a moon, but you don't see the moon. You're imagining a moon and you just see the sky, right? You just see the sky. We're going to go to an actual eclipse that was filmed. And right here, what's this? This is a lens flare. And this is not a lens flare because it's locked to the sun. This is moving around with the camera. What is this? Now, the sun is eclipsed this much, but you can't see it just because it's so bright. It's blowing out the lens. But it is, 85, 90% eclipse. What if that is the actual sun, the actual eclipse, happening above or beyond the firmament? On the right is an eclipse that I filmed. And on the left is an eclipse that I created from a rear projection onto a paper towel. So this is an eclipse that was filmed a few years ago, and it's about 90% eclipse, and we see these two little eclipse lights. Well, one of them that's moving around, that's clearly a lens flare. It's moving with the camera. But the other one is locked to the sun. The amount of the lit part of these little lights is about what the sun is in the eclipse, but you don't notice it because it's so bright it's blowing out the lens. But they do match. So what is that? I think it's the projector, the source of the sun that we see. So if we do my experiment, we get our paper towel sky, we have a rear projection sun, and it's being eclipsed by a disk. Nobody has ever seen the moon approach, eclipse, or exit the face of the sun during an eclipse. But if you look at the paper towel, which represents the sky, you don't see it. Here it is exiting. You don't see what's eclipsing the sun. You just see a circular shape. Okay? But what if the sky was more transparent? So now I have thinner tissue here and doing the same thing. And look, right there, there's the source. It's not a theory. That is the source of the eclipse. That is the projector of the light. And when we compare them to an actual eclipse, it matches. Prove me wrong. Show me a better explanation of what causes an eclipse. And if you want to learn, they tell us that it's the moon that is eclipsing the sun. But nobody has ever seen the moon come approach the sun No one's ever seen the moon approaching, and then eclipsing, and then exiting. No one has ever seen the moon. They go, well, that's because the sun's so bright, you can't see the moon next to it. But when it's perfectly eclipsing the moon, you should be able to see it because the earth shine, which is greater than the moonshine, should light up the moon. No one's ever seen it. They never showed us a picture of it from space, from an infrared.
So what is eclipsing the sun? Big question, hey? Because it's not the moon. You will notice on the astrological chart you have in front of you that the North Node is on the 24th degree of Leo, just 4 degrees away from the sun and moon, as it always is at every eclipse in the history of the universe.
So what he's referring to here is, you see the 28 degrees of the sun. This is the moon symbol, 28 degrees. And then you have the dragon's head, North Node at 23 degrees. This is what he's talking about here.
This is the cause of the eclipse. The Hindus call this Rahu, the head of the dragon. It is also known as the black sun, degree of Aquarius. That's called Ketu, the south node. So what is a node? First of all, let's address this. Okay, here is a Vedic astrology depiction of it, the best one I could find. It's very simple, and it's...
Okay, so we just heard from Santos Bonacci, and he explained very well that this comes out of the Vedic Hindu astrology, which is actually why they have Rahu depicted as black right here, okay? So let's take a look at what the mainstream narrative Wikipedia definition of Rahu says. Rahu is one of the 9 major celestial bodies, Navagraha, in the Hindu text and the king of meteors. It represents the ascension of the moon in its precessional orbit around the earth, also referred to as the north lunar node, along with Ketu, which is Rahu and Ketu are siblings, okay? Ketu and Rahu are shadow planets that cause eclipses. Despite having no physical existence, Rahu has been allocated the status of the planet by ancient seers owing to its strong influence in astrology. Rahu, also known as the Black Sun, is usually paired with Ketu, another shadow planet, and the time of day is considered to be under the influence of Rahu, called Rahu Kala. Okay, so you have to understand, in the geocentric Vedic Hindu cosmology astrology model, that the north and south lunar nodes are always retrogressing underneath the flat plane. They're always moving. As we heard Santos Bonacci say, they had an 18-year cycle. And it says here in Wikipedia, as per Hindu astrology, Rahu and Ketu have an orbital cycle of 18 years and are always 180 degrees away from each other orbitally, as well as shown on their birth charts. Astrologically, Rahu and Ketu denote the points of intersection of the paths of the sun and the moon as they rotate around the plane of inertia. This is how they can predict when these eclipses are going to happen, okay? These eclipses occur when the sun and the moon are at one of these points, at one of the south and north lunar node points. Okay, it gives rise to the understanding of the swallowing of the sun and the moon by the snake, which is Rahu, the black sun, to what's called Saros, a period of approximately 223 synodic months, approximately 6,585 and a quarter days. Also 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours, and that this is what can be used to predict eclipses of the sun and the moon when they are in conjunction with each other. And it says up here in astrology on Wikipedia, since Rahu and Ketu are 2 opposite lunar nodes, they always appear in diametrically opposite houses in the horoscopes on the ecliptic plane of the zodiac. Both nodes are always in retrograde motion, and they're always moving. The black sun, Rahu.